Guys, so a common failure point on Honda V6s or Hondas in general are power steering pumps. However, since most of the time they just spring leaks, it doesn't always have to be an expensive repair. Today I'm going to show you how to do it the cheap way and stop your leaks without spending so much money. Today, for example purposes, I will be working on this 2000 Honda Accord. The problem that it has is it's losing power steering fluid out the backside of the pump, which is a really common problem. I'm using the Accord for examples, but this is exactly the same procedure on most V6 Hondas, including the Odyssey, the TL, and a lot of other V6 Hondas. So really this would apply to anyone. But the first thing you've got to do is get this pump off because we cannot fix the leaks with it in the car. That's as simple as taking the bolts here and one at the bottom loose, which are both 12mm bolts. To access the tensioner in the back, you're going to need to take this plastic cover off, but it just sits in these little holes right here, so it just lifts straight off. There is how you take the tension off of this. You're going to back this nut off and loosen the bolt or the nut at the bottom, and this will drop down, which will take the tension off this belt. Once you've got both of those loose, you can let the slack out of the belt, remove the belt, but leave it there. Just let it hang over the mount there. Then you're going to take those bolts completely out. You're going to take this clamp back out of the way, pull this hose off, then two 10mm bolts here, pop this up, and then you just tuck it out of the way back here. So I'm gonna get that done, then I'll touch base with you and show you the next step. So this is what it looks like once the pump is out of the way. Here you can see the tensioner and the stud down there that the nut that held it on was. And here is where the other bolt goes. I've just got this back hose shoved back there, and this one is right here. Now once you've got it out of the car, the next thing that you're gonna have to do is take this pulley off. Now, if you have a decent impact driver, this is easy. If it's not, you may want to break this loose before the belt is taken off, as it's kind of hard to get loose once it's free spinning. Once that is off, you just slip this pulley back off, and you are down to just the pump itself. This is the seal kit part number that we got. This particular one we got from AutoZone. Here's what it comes with. You see a bunch of O-rings, one seal, and the instructions. Now, the first thing I notice here, the first problem that we have, this is the front seal that this comes with. And looking at it right here, I can already tell you it's not going to work. It is smaller than the seal that's in there, which is actually okay because that's not leaking on this pump anyway, and the customer just wanted it fixed. The two most common things to leak on these is the seal back here on the back and the O-ring right here in this return. And both of those are in here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take this off to get it out of the way, and then remove these four 12mm bolts so that we can pull the back plate off. And right there around the outside, you will see the O-ring that causes the leak. Here's the O-ring removed, and here's the reason why they leak. This is a rubber O-ring, but it feels like plastic. And look, already broken. It's just lost all of its flexibility. Down at this point, here's the next O-ring, which sits just inside this housing. You can just pop that off. And one more small one around the center shaft, which we're also gonna replace. Then what I like to do is pre-lube the new O-rings with a little bit of Honda specific power steering fluid. Push all of them back into their places. Then if you haven't touched much and you've kept everything where it was, this should be a pretty easy slide back into place. Just be careful, don't force anything. You don't want to run a risk of breaking anything. Then once you've got that back on and these all evenly tightened, you're going to flip it over to here, and we're going to replace this O-ring with the one in the kit. So with that back together, that is pretty much all of the external seals and even a couple of the internal seals that are easy to get to. That will only leave you with 3 things within this kit. This is the seal that's supposed to be the front seal, but as I mentioned, that is incorrect for whatever reason. But that was the only one I could get a hold of right now. So since this one's not leaking, we're just gonna leave it alone. And then you've got 2 more O-rings, which go in here. But since that's not so much of an external seal, and since it's not leaking and I don't have any problems there, and we're trying to sort of get out with the minimum here to save money, we're gonna leave that alone. So now it's just a matter of putting the pulley back on and then putting it back in, which is just the reverse of what I showed you taking it off. Quick tip for this lower stud. The stud down there that you're gonna be putting the nut on is hard to get to, and the stud itself can back out. So what I like to do there is pull your dipstick tube out, take this, or any kind of like a long pry bar, stick it behind here to hold the bolt out. And while you're holding that with one hand, you can go where the dipstick tube was with your other hand and reach down here to actually start the nut. It's also a good way to get the nut out. Once you've got all that back together, you're gonna leave this plastic piece off at first because it'll make it easier to see behind here and make sure that there are no leaks. Then you're gonna wanna top this off and have more Honda specific power steering fluid sitting by, because once you start it, it will suck this down quite a bit. And once again, do not use normal ATF or normal power steering fluid. Only use stuff that says Honda on the bottle. So once you've got it back together, checked it for leaks and replaced the plastic piece and topped off and given it a chance to get all the air out of it, you are basically done. Basically all there is to it. I hope that that helped somebody out there. If it did, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here and you'd like to see more car how-tos and car related stuff. And make sure you hit the bell icon. And leave me a comment and let me know if this worked or if you have a better way or any other information you might have. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.